sorry, I've had all sorts of problems going live. I'm just going to put across a message to say that I am now live on the original live stream that I set up directly on YouTube. But this is going from Restream, from a client software. So I just bear with me a minute and I will be back and make a proper start. Channel. So, okay, videos. Okay, I've lost that. Never mind, I'm live. If you're with me, that's awesome. I'm quite well aware I might be on my own today after all those technical hitches. So sorry. So, in my usual life, I run training for teachers, usually half-day training, often full-day training. And the difference between what I do in my videos and what I do live is that live I spend a huge amount of my time listening. So at the start of the day, it's a great deal of work listening to teachers, finding out about their particular contexts, what they're worried about, why they've come for the training, what they want to get out of it, and making sure that I tailor what I do to their precise needs. And then during the breaks, I talk to them a lot more. I talk about delving into whether I'm meeting their needs, getting them to expand a little bit further on their particular context so we can tailor the training. And we talk about, sometimes they've got children with particular special educational needs, so we delve into that. And we can do a lot of that one-to-one. And also, if they've got issues with student behaviour, we can talk about how we deal with specific students or whole classes that are not settled and teachers are struggling to work with. And then sometimes teachers are struggling to teach just because of everything that's going on in their lives. And, you know, I've had teachers who've come to me because they're struggling with their maths teaching, but the reality is that they're just under huge stress at home. We actually need to talk about that and deal with that. And that's how face-to-face training works. And I hugely miss it. Also because teachers teach me so much. So live streams and going live are a real opportunity to bring a bit of that back. But it's been a complete technological nightmare. Apparently you have to have all sorts of client servers to log on to the YouTube these days. And then you need software that integrates with that to make your live stream really poshed up. So I thought I'd just go back to basics because none of that was working on my computer and just live stream on YouTube. But it didn't work. So now I'm here going through a add-on software called Restream. And I still don't know if it's working. So if you're there, please send me a comment because I'm not getting any. This is really hard. So I'm just getting flashing messages saying Safari browser support is limited. We recommend switching to Google Chrome and all the glitches with this software, that which is why I went back to trying to use just straight YouTube. This was so easy 3 or 4 years ago when I started live streaming. Why is it so hard now? Anyway, I've had all sorts of questions come through. If you're watching this and you're not live, it's fine to write questions on any of my videos. I generally pick them up. If I don't, try again, or come to my Facebook group, which is Expert Primary Maths Teaching, and post questions there because I do see them, I do read them, I do respond. Question that came through yesterday was, what strategies for multiplication and division can I teach my grade 5 students? Now, the lady who posted this didn't say which country she's in, so I'm not sure what her curriculum for 5th grade is. But I've just finished the series that covered maths teaching for age 7 to 9. And in that, we looked at the foundations of tables, the foundations of children understanding multiplication through array. We looked at short multiplication by numbers between 2 and 9 with Dean's blocks and base 10 materials. And we extended that to decimals with the place value counters and continued that short multiplication. We also looked at some mental multiplication strategies like doubling and doubling again for multiplying by 4 and doubling again for multiplying by 8. And there's a whole video on mental multiplication at that level. And we did similar for division, looking at why division is both sharing fairly and counting groups, and the foundations of division, and then short division by numbers between 2 and 9 with the Dean's apparatus, the base 10 blocks, and then extending that to decimals with the place value counters. So there are videos for all of that already. Moving on beyond that, I'm now scripting and will start videoing and publishing number for 9 to 11-year-olds next week. And in that, I will be doing consolidation on tables facts for multiplication and division. And I'll look at doing that by thinking about factors and factor pairs as a really good way of consolidating tables results, which children should know by now, but which still need practice. So we'll look at doing factors with array, and we'll use factor bugs. And the idea of continuing to practice tables results will go through number at 9 to 11. We'll look at big numbers, numbers up to 10 million, and incorporate those into our multiplication and division. There'll be a video on that. And we'll take our understanding of decimals out to 3 decimal places and making sure that children can really visualize what's going on there. And then we'll look at multiplication and division by 2 to 9 to 3 decimal places. And beyond that, I will be looking at long multiplication through array, building it up systematically and structurally in ways that support all methods for thinking about long multiplication. And long division, again, making sure children have a really sound, secure visual understanding of what's going on, splitting apart the 3 methods of dividing by 2-digit numbers, that's short division, and the algorithms that use a sharing fairly structure and the algorithms that use a counting group structure. So I will cover some of that. Just thinking, what else do we do in multiplication and division? We'll do a lot of work on proportion, on ratio, on finding fractions of amounts, on finding percentages of amounts, and that involves a lot of multiplication and division that will consolidate what children have done. And the model I'll be using that will be the proportion bar. So the underlying structures for multiplication and division between the ages of 9 and 11 that I'll be focusing on are still the number line, base 10 materials, that's Dean's blocks and more place value counters at this stage. Array is huge here. And I'll be introducing the proportion bar. So it really does build from what we've already done. There are other models for multiplication and division that are used in some countries. You can use a scaling model. We can introduce the idea of reciprocals, but I'm only going to be touching on that and linking it back to the other structures of multiplication that we've done, because really that comes in at secondary school, age 11 to 12. Here in the UK curriculum. You can also think about multiplication as combinations, but that's only really touched on in practical contexts here, like matching shorts and t-shirts, or very clear things that children can imagine and puzzle out from scratch. They don't need that structure securely established yet. It comes in much later in the UK maths curriculum. And the other one is the structure of compound measures, and that links into the structures of rates and the idea that multiplication is linked to the gradient of graphs. And that will come in again age 11 to 12 properly. Any examples for younger children here will be deeply contextual, so you can wrestle with them without having been specifically taught those structures in a formal way, so they can come later. But if people want to talk about them, we can talk about them. So I'm not getting any comments coming in. I'm sure people aren't watching. I'm so sorry to all the people who were in the waiting room for the live stream that I set up that didn't work. Please bear with me. I'm doing my best. This is all for the love of it. If you're a maths education geek and you want to join a community, that's what I'm hoping to create. I'm hoping to give you a voice as well, so that if you've got really interesting ideas about maths education, I can listen to you and help you have a voice on the internet and explain your thinking. If you'd rather do that through a planned video rather than live, we can do that too. Okay, it's been a tough morning, but the stresses that I'm under making this technology work are nothing compared with the stresses most primary teachers are struggling with in their lives this year and in their teaching this year. So I'd just like to take this chance to wish you well. I hope you're managing to stay safe and stay well. These are very challenging times. I'd like to send you lots of love. Bye for now.